Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to draft this scoop neckline illusion with armhole princess that style line. If this is what you like to learn, please come on, let's dive into the tutorial. Welcome back. If you're an old subscriber and if you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. So the first thing I'm going to do is to mark the basic line. So the armhole I'm working with is 7 inches. I got the armhole length by dividing my bust, which is 35 inches. 35 inches divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and when I did the calculation I got 7 inches. So that's how I got it. 7 inches plus 1 inch for shoulder slope. I have 8 inches there, just as you can see. So the bust point I'm working with is 10 inches, the under bust is 13.5 inches, the half length is 16 inches, while the hemline, the blouse hip line, is 25 inches. So I'm going to just mark these lines just like so, as you can see. And the next thing I'll do is to go to the neckline. I'll measure 7 inches, which is for my shoulder. 14 inches divided by 2, I have 7 inches. I'm going to mark my 1 inch for the shoulder slope, just like so. And I'm going to mark it just this way. I'm going to slope it down like so. Then I'm going to mark 7 inches on this side so we can have a straight line. So I've marked the 7 inches there, and here you have it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark my neckline. I'm going to connect the neckline, which is 3 by 3 inches, just like so. As you can see, 3 by 3 inches, just like so. Then after doing that, I'm going to divide what I have on the armhole by 2, come in by ½ inch right here, and I'm going to connect it. Before connecting it, I'm just going to mark the straight line there. Then I'm going to come to the bust line. So the bust line I'm working with is 35 divided by 4, which gives me 8 3/4. 8 3/4. 35 divided by 4 gives me 8 3/4. So I'm going to mark my 8 3/4 right here, and I'm going to connect the armhole to that point, just as you can see. I'm going to connect the armhole to that point just this way. I'm going to mark it just like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get my nipple to nipple measurement. So 34 inches, which is our bust, 35 sorry, divided by 4 minus 1.5, it gives me 7 1/4. So I'm going to divide it by 2, then I'll get 3.5 and 1 point. So I'm going to mark that value on the waistline, on the bust line, the bust line, and the hip line, just as you can see. I'm going to mark it on the hip line, and I'm going to connect the line just like so. 3.5 and 1 point. So I'm going to connect it, as you can see. So I came down by 1 inch on that bust point. Then I'm going to connect it just like so. So after doing that, what I'm going to do is to come on the waistline. I'm going to mark 3/4 inch on both sides. 3/4 inch on both sides. I'm going to come up by 2 inches from the hemline, and I'm going to connect it just as you can see. I'm going to connect it just as you can see, and then the next thing I will do is to mark 1 inch on both sides of the underbust. 1 inch on both sides of the underbust, and I'm going to connect it. I'm going to mark the same 1 inch on the waistline. So I have 1.5 inch there already, so I'm marking 1/4 of an inch on the both sides to make it half. So I've connected it straight to the underbust, and I'm going to connect it straight down to the hemline, just as you can see. Connect it straight down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the underbust from the 1 inch that I came down by from the bust point. I'm going to connect it to the underbust just like so. Connecting it just like so. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to come to my shoulder slope and divide what I have there by 2. So I've divided it, and I'm going to connect it to the 1 inch that I came down by from the bust point, just like so. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to the waistline I have 29 divided by 4, which is my waist measurement, and I have 7 1/4. I'm going to mark the 7 1/4 inch now. Then after marking the 7 1/4 inch, I am going to add the 2 inches allowance here, and I'm going to mark it just like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to the hip line. The hip I'm working with is 40 divided by 4. I have 10 inches. So I'm marking 10 inches right now, and I'm going to add 2 inches allowance for the hip freeness, to make it the hip bigger on that part. If you do not want it, you can just make use of your normal 10 inches. So I've marked that, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to come to the bust that. I've marked 1 1/2 inch allowance, because the allowance that I have from my back half length and the front half length is 1 1/2, and I've marked it, and I'm going to divide the shoulder that so I can open my bust that. I've opened the shoulder that so that I can be able to close my bust that, just as you can see. So I'm going to close the bust that now. I've closed it, and I'm going to divide. Just ensure that you are placing this very well. Do not try to straighten it or whatever. So I've divided what I have there. I'm going to divide it by 4. So what I got is 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to mark the 3/4 of an inch on the armhole side. Then I'm going to connect it to the bust point, just as you can see. So after doing that, I'm going to open the bust that again, and I'm going to close the shoulder that. So I'm going to close it just like so. Please ensure that it is relaxing properly and there is no bulk on any side at all. So I have opened the bust that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to divide. Okay, you can see that shoulder, that it is the value that we got there. So I'm going to bring it out again, which is the 3/4 of an inch. I brought it out, and I'm going to connect my shoulder because it is no longer aligning. I have to align it there. So here I'm going to come out by 1/2 inch. We already have our 1/2 inch mark there already. So I'm going to connect it just as you can see. I've connected it just like that. So what I'm going to do now is to get our armhole. To mark our armhole princess that. So I'm going to measure what I have around the armhole area just like so. I'm going to measure what I have there. What I have there is 8 inches, and I've divided by 2, and I had 4 inches. So I've marked my 4 inches there, and I'm going to place the curved driller properly on to connect just like so. So this is not the line I'm supposed to mark. I'm going to remark now. You're going to see. So because this is not the armhole we are working with the second armhole there. So I'm correcting the mistake just like so. Just like so. And I'm going to cancel the first one I've marked. So the next thing you're going to do is come down by 1 inch just like so. Please ensure that you on this part extend it by 1/2 an inch, please, 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to bring the 1 inch that I have there to extend the bust area. So ensure that you come out by 1/2 of an inch here in order to not have any shortage, please. So we're going to continue. Then I'm going to just open the shoulder that again to close the bust that, so I can connect my new armhole line to the bodies. Now, after doing this, the next thing I'm going to do now is you can see the way it's coming out. It's coming all out now. So in order for me to be able to, I'm going to close that shoulder that properly now. I'm going to close it now. So I'm done closing it, and I'm going to come up here by 1 1/2 inch here to have a curvy shape for the blouse. You can come up by 2 inches. It depends on how curvy you want this part to be. So I'm just coming up by 1.5 inch now. So the next thing I'm going to do is to close my bust dart. So in order for me to be able to close it, I'm going to open the waist dart now. So I'm going to open the waist dart and I'm going to close the bust darts now, so we can have a proper cut. So the styline, the styline, I made a mistake. I didn't know the video was not recording. So the styline, just start from this where your armhole is, you can see it there, and then connect it to the neckline just like so, and curve it like that and get your style line, the front style line. I don't know if you can see it there, the front. I didn't know my phone was not recording that part. I'm so sorry. So the style line, you can see it there from the armhole there. Just curve it down, or you can give it any shape that you want in that part. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm trying to cut it out now, just like so. Please, if you have been able to watch up onto this point, please kindly subscribe, like, and share my videos so other people can be able to see this very styling I'm talking about. Just curve it from the armhole, from the bust, and from the princess dart armhole area down to the neckline, or however you want to style that neck part. But for the sake of the one on the page, the one I'm trying to teach, this is how it looks like. So you're going to cut it like that. I hope you can see the way I'm cutting it out. Cut it this way, and we are done cutting. So this is what we have after cutting it. This is what we have. Please, if you do not understand, please just take your time to watch the video all over again so you can understand what I've cut there. So we are going to move to the back now. So for the back, I've marked my basic lines. So I have my shoulder 7 inches, 1 inch for the zipper allowance, 3 inches, 3 by 1 inches for the neck, 8 inches for the armhole, 1 inch for shoulder slope. So I have the waistline is 14.5 inches instead of the normal 16 inches that we made use of at the front part. So I'm going to measure what I have here now, which is 9 inches, and I'm going to make sure that that is what I'm going to have from the waist to hip at the back part as well. Please take note of that. 9 inches at the back part as well, and I'm going to connect it just like so. Connect it just like so. So I'm going to cut that part out so that we can have an equal front and back length. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the waistline, which is 7.25 inches. I'm going to mark it right here with my 1 inch dart. Mark it there. Hip allowance, hip measurement 10 inches plus 2 inches that I came out by from the front part. I'm going to mark it there. So I'm going to connect the lines just as you can see, just the same way I did in the front part. I'm going to do that in the back part as well. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to come up by 3 inches here, or you can just bring back your, so this is just exactly the same thing I did at the front part. Just from there, you can bring your front part, the front armhole, measure whatever you have there. So when I measured mine, what I have there was 3/4 inch. So I have the same thing on the back part as well, 3/4 inch, and that is what I have there. So measure what you have there and make sure that they are corresponding. So just mark the style line like this is what I did in the front part as well. So after doing that, what I'm going to do now is to come to connect that line to make the new neckline that I've just marked. So I'm going to come here just to tighten that place a little bit, a 1/4 of an inch on both sides. I'm going to mark it and I'm going to connect it to the waistline, just as you can see. I'm going to connect it to the waistline just like this, and I'm going to connect it down. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark 1.5 inch on these parts. 1.5 inch, I'm going to connect it into this dart here. So I'm just connecting it just like so. So after doing that, I'm going to tighten this part, especially if you are making use of a stretchy fabric like a net or a chantilly lace or whatever. So I'm tightening it with 1/2 inch. You can make use of 1/4 of an inch if that is what you wish. But if you are making use of a very stretchy fabric, please make use of 1/2 inch, just like I have done. So what I'm going to do now is, if you are making use of a zipper, just come in by 1/4 of an 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch if you wish. So just connect it to the upper part there and connect it to the down part as well. And from the center back, from that line, that 1/2 inch, you're going to come in by 1 inch so as to get the measurement for the zipper correctly. So I'm not going to make use of a zipper. I'm going to cut it off now. So after cutting it off like this, I'm going to be making use of the loop right here. So I'm going to mark 2.5 inch on the upper part and 1/2 inch on the hemline. I'm going to connect it just like this. You can actually style it however you want your loop to be. You can make it straight if you wish, but I want to make this like this. That is why I'm slanting it. So I'm going to be having my loop here. So I'm going to be cutting this part out now. I've marked it. I'm going to be cutting my dart out as well. So I'll come to the hemline and I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch, the same way I've done in the front part. I'm going to curve it just like so, just as you can see, and we are done with the back. But if you want to snatch your waist, all you need to do is just measure from the waist side to the dart. You can still snatch it if you wish. I'm not snatching any part of this dress at all. So just come to this part here, measure what you have, divide it by 2 and draw a dart however you want it and slash it there, holding whatever allowance that you want to use to snatch your waist. You can hold it right there. I'm not snatching this waist at all. That's why we're having it just this way. And this is what we have for the back. So I'm going to just stretch the line up onto the styline that we have at the back there. So I'm done with drafting of the back. If you find this video helpful, please kindly subscribe, like, and share my videos. God bless you as you do so. Thank you for encouraging me to make more videos. It is really not easy at all, but thank you so much. I am willing to do more and better. If there's any question you want to ask me, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. I'll be willing to respond to you. So here is our back as we are cutting it out now. So you can see everything is looking all well and nice. I can assure you that if you cut your pattern with this pattern that I've cut out, if you use this style to cut out your pattern, you're really going to enjoy what you're going to see. You're really going to like what the dress is going to look like. You can just try it and see. Please practice, make perfection. Please practice it and make sure that you try it. Just try it and see. I can assure you that it's going to come out well and nice. I have used this style several times to cut this particular whatever, and it comes out nice. Please, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing. A new subscriber, thank you for coming back. Please kindly subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much, and God bless you as you do so. This is all we have, and I hope you've learned something new today. So you can place the front part on the back part and you can see the waistline and the hemline is matching. So this is what we want to achieve. Thank you.